is must. With detached attachment, Warren Buffett says, from morning 9 to evening 6, I am a businessman. From evening 6 to 9, I am a family man. And from evening 9 to 10, I am a personal man. My moral and spiritual elevation, my good reading. Different facets of the day, of your life. So you are not the contents of your wallet. You are not your job. You are not the car that you drive. You are not the status that you have. These are all quantities of life. Qualities of life, virtues of life, values in life are different. Those who held quantities in life have fans. And those who had qualities in life had followers. There is a big difference between fans and followers. Fans, they dry up anytime. All celebrities are experiencing it in a decade or two. Fans, they dry up. Recently, you might have read in the newspapers just a couple of months back that a leading celebrity of the yesteryears of the Tinsel town, she had to move to an old age home in Andheri. Simple. Fans, they dry up. Followers don't. By quantities in life, you get fans. By qualities in life, you get followers. Big difference. Inspiring, motivating, energizing masses comes by qualities in life. Pramukh Swami wore a simple saffron cloth, just 5th standard pass, could not speak a single sentence in English, did not know how to play a single musical instrument. If you hear him for 20 minutes, it was a simple, straightforward Gujarati speech. But he ordained more than 1,000 saints like us. Out of them, more than 750 are graduates, postgraduates, chartered accountants, doctors, and engineers. Out of them, more than 150 are born American or British citizens. Out of them, more than 50 are Stanford, Harvard, Oxford, or Carnegie Mellon graduates. How could we influence the life of this educated third generation than his? Third generation than his? By qualities of life. A man with a pure heart does not have to give his introduction. Like a crystal of sugar does not have to give its introduction to the ants and bees. Ravi Shankar Maharaj used to wear very simple clothes. He used to just walk down into the ravines of the Chambal in Madhya Pradesh. People used to tell him, the villages surrounding the ravines, that this dacoits would kill you. He said, I go to them with a pure heart. I want to transform their lives. I want to bring them back to mainstream society. I want to give them humanity in life. Nothing is going to happen to me. And he used to go into the deep ravines to the most dreaded dacoits of Chambal. They would see him coming. But somehow they did not fail from within to pull the trigger. He would go and sit beside them, dacoits of the class of Mohan Singh or Madhav Singh. He transformed them. He would go and sit beside them, take away first the gun from their hand and say that put this aside, now listen to me. And he transformed the lives of hundreds of dacoits in the Chambals. When quality speaks, quantity has to just sit down and listen. The world is led more by quality people than quantity people. And people actually lure for quality. People actually are thirsty for qualities of life. Otherwise, why would these richest billionaires upon this earth, from Bill Gates to Mark Zuckerberg to Jackie Chan, would donate billions of dollars? They understood that the real power of money is in giving, in not preserving. They understood that quality in life, giving, is one of the qualities of life, is more important. Quality makes up your life much better. They understood it, and that is why they gave away billions of dollars in charity to their foundations. So the second important aspect of quantity fills and quality fulfill is detached attachment. All attachment bodily, at your workplace, with your colleagues, with your family members, with your friends. But there is, at the same time, you understand, I am not this body, I am this soul. As Lord Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, I am attached with everybody. At the same time, I am detached from everybody as well. Like a drop of water when it falls from the sky in a bucket full of water, or in the river, or in the sea, it mixes with the rest of the water. And when it falls on the leaf of lotus, it maintains its separate identity. Your one foot on the ground is with the mainstream. Other foot is on the leaf of lotus. Detached attachment. And as such, when you close your eyes, it is total detachment. Even if temporarily when you close your eyes every day night at 11 or 12, it is detachment. Lord Krishna says this in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. He says, Arjun, you and me, we have taken thousands of births. And henceforth, in future, we will have thousands of births. So don't regret for some small happenings, small givings and takings, happily not happening or unhappily happening in this particular birth. If you have total attachment, one opportunity miss and you will grieve a lot. If you have detached attachment, you will feel that opportunities are like bus stand, a bus comes every 3 minutes. A bus stand, a bus comes every 3 minutes. If you don't get this bus, catch the next bus. Detached attachment will teach you that you can't have all that you want. Am I right? Attachment will teach you what? Try for everything that you are thinking. Go for it. And detached attachment will teach you, try for everything that you want, but don't go fully after it because you have many other aspects of life. And it is not that your absolute happiness is absolutely dependent upon you achieving that success of life. So detached attachment. I teach the formula 60 plus 20 plus 10 plus 10. At your workplace and in your relationship. This is the formula that works for 7 billion population. Even for the birds and animals, probably I don't know that kingdom. But it works everywhere. For every living identity upon this earth. 60 plus 20 plus 10 plus 10. 60% of the relations that you develop in your life will work happily and lovingly in your lifetime. Of the total relations that you develop. 60% will go fine. Goody, lifetime. Another 20% of the relations you will have to pump in a lot of energy. Calling again and again. Bar unko maan dena. Putting a lot of resources into that relationships just to maintain it. Yes or no? That 20% of the relationships actually demands a lot of maintenance from you. Whether it is friendly in the neighbor or in the in-laws. Yes or no? Especially in the third category. I say jokingly and laughingly many times because they are called in-laws because they are bound to drag you to laws. They are designed to take you to laws. So they are called in-laws. Why not a better name than this? ये भी एक समाज में क्रांति की जरूरत है. Why to call them in-laws? For what reason this word has come into existence? I am still pondering upon it. I think more than me, I am a sannyasi. You must be concerned about it that you want the name change, isn't it? Because in-laws experience is the richest emotional experience of your life. 20% of the relationships of your life. To maintain it, you will have to pump in a lot of energy, time, resources, everything. That comes to total 80%. Another 10% of the relationships are bound to get spoiled. Accept it. And the rest 10% from 90 to 100 are the type of the relations that you lose lifetime, and those relations are bound to turn into severe enmity. If not enmity, a very, very dreaded competition because of envy. Yes or no? 60, 20, 10, 10 is the ratio in any relationship. So if you lose a relationship in your life, give it a good 3 chance for another 6 months, every 2 months, to regain it back. But if you don't regain it, say him or her a big bye, wish him or her a good luck in life, pray to God for him or her, turn around your face, and most importantly, don't forget to delete his or her number from the mobile. Otherwise, every time that gentleman or that lady appears on the screen, and you, oh, इसने यार मेरे साथ ये किया, वो करने के लिए आए थे, वो करने के लिए आए थे, वो, that was the last 10 plus 10 category with he. Same happens with your work. So the theory and so the practical happiness and the emotional gains of detached attachment. Attach fully, at the same time detach also fully. Then you will live a balanced life. Total attachment is quantity. It will fill your life with people, with luxuries, with resources. And detached attachment, I'm not talking of total detachment. Huh? Even we as sadhus, we are not totally detached. We also live a detached, attached life. But detached attachment is quality of life that will fulfill your life. Because in detached attachment, every day, night before you retire for the day, you have to introspect that everything around me is made up of mud, and one day it will go back to its original form. सब मिट्टी का बना हुआ है और एक दिन सब मिट्टी में मिल जाएगा. हाँ या ना? तो आप सुबह में मर्सिडीज गाड़ी अच्छी खरीदो, अटैचमेंट पूरा रखो, 2 बार अच्छा लॉन्ग ड्राइव ले लो, रात को एक बार सोचना कि वो भी मिट्टी से बनी हुई है, और 10 years डाउन द लाइन वो फिर से एटलीस्ट अस्तित्व रहेगी, तो आपके लिए मिट्टी हो जाएगी और चली जाएगी. कहने की बात यह है, दिस इज द फैक्ट ऑफ लाइफ. डिटैच अटैचमेंट इज द वे यू वर्क आउट इन योर लाइफ. Pramukh Swami Maharaj did so many activities. 18,000 villages personally visited, 7.5 lakh letters personally written, 2 million people personally met, 3.5 lakh shops, offices, homes or factories personally visited. Built more than 1,300 temples in his lifetime, more than 200 hospitals, schools, hostels and colleges built in his lifetime, successfully administered. More than 1,000 saints like us ordained in the organization. Amount of attachment to society, to people, to resources, unbelievable. But the amount of detachment you see in his life. In 1985, Pramukh Swami Maharaj was weighed against gold at the Ali Pali Stadium in London. He donated the entire amount of that gold that he was weighed against for the erection of the medical college at Karamsad in Gujarat. He did not keep an ounce of it. That is called detached attachment. Coming out of the stadium, he sat in his car, and as usual, as his routine, and as his daily habit, he just turned around on his right and demanded the letters from his secretary. And sitting in the car from the stadium to his residence, he kept on reading letters and answering the letters that had come from India. Nothing about, yeah, I was sitting like that, and the people around me, and this was that, and so much of gold, and not a single thought of it. Unimaginable detached attachment. He came to his residence, and one gentleman was waiting for him. Not to meet him, but to scold him And he said to Pramukh Swami, you are ordaining young, intelligent, academically qualified youngsters into sainthood. This is a big loss to society. We are losing engineers, chartered accountants and doctors. First, basically, जितने हैं उनकी तो कुछ नौकरी के लिए कुछ करो. Pramukh Swami did not say a single word. And he bombarded Pramukh Swami for about 10 to 15 minutes. And Pramukh Swami just listened to him. Pujya Vivek Sagar Swami, since 40 years, is with Pramukh Swami. He wanted to creep in. Pramukh Swami hold his hand and said, let him speak out. Just 20 minutes back, Pramukh Swami Maharaj was sitting in the Grand Ellipelli Stadium, the football stadium at Wimbledon, in the midst of 45,000 people, and he was weighed against gold. And 20 minutes hence, a person was insulting him, and Pramukh Swami was stable. And after he finished his speech, Pramukh Swami asked Vivek Sagar Swami, it's time for dinner, and make arrangements for his dinner. And he left the place. This is called quality life. तू कौन है मुझे कहने वाला? The moment you roll your sleeves, you have rolled your life out. आपकी bearing capacity कितनी है वो तो एक बार चेक कर लो. Attacking capacity तो बहुत अच्छी है आपकी, वो देख लिया आपने. जो sleeves roll की ना, उसमें आपकी attacking capacity देख ली. अब bearing capacity as a human being, how much you can bear, वो तो एक बार चेक कर लो. 1995, Pramukh Swami built the world famous Swaminarayan temple in London. Reader's Digest described it at that time as the 8th wonder of the world. Today it stands among that. The first masterpiece made in India, assembled in London. First masterpiece. 28,000 pieces of stone were individually carved, shipped to London, a jigsaw puzzle like, and the whole temple was constructed. I think many of you might have visited the Nisdan Swaminarayan temple. After the inauguration ceremony, the next day Pramukh Swami Maharaj was leaving for US. He just came out of his residence, and the BBC reporter asked him, when will you come back to this temple? Pramukh Swami said, with God's wish. When next time? Pramukh Swami said, probably 2 years, 5 years or 10 years, we don't know. He was surprised. Have you not built this your home? Are you not going to stay here? Pramukh Swami said, this is God's home for the devotees to offer devotion. This is not our place. And Pramukh Swami stepped inside his car, and the amount of detached attachment that he had in his life, saints with him, they observed that when the car came out of this campus, for the first time an occasion was there of the Indian community, that is the building and the construction, the inauguration of this Swaminarayan Mandir in London, that reports positive, something about Indian culture and tradition were printed on the front page of British newspapers. Pramukh Swami came out of the campus, and the car took the right turn. Coming out of the London temple, the right turn to come on the main road. From that point, just a head turn, and Pramukh Swami would see the glamour of that, his creation. A different view from the main road. But his usual habit, once he sits in the car, he starts reading the letters. He did not take that view. Rest of us all were clicking pictures from that view. Detached attachment. In 1996, we were with Pramukh Swami Maharaj in US, and Pramukh Swami Maharaj was felicitated in the world famous RCMH, the Radio City Music Hall. It's a 7-story hall in New York. That was the 25-year celebrations of our organization in US. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj was brought on the stage from 2 levels down. And when he came on the stage, there were fireworks all over, beautifully celebrated by the local community. 6,000 jam-packed audience in 7 layers in front of the stage. You could imagine. This is the auditorium where Charlie Chaplin has performed, and then the who's who of the world so far. For every celebrity all over the world, it's a once-in-a-lifetime dream to perform on the stage of RCMH, the Radio City Music Hall in New York. And Pramukh Swami Maharaj was felicitated on that stage, and it was a different atmosphere. I could see Puja Vivek Sagar Swami, we were just adjoining each other with full tears and literally crying because he could see 25 years of Pramukh Swami's hard work on that land of America for imbibing moral and spiritual values in the hearts and minds of people, and especially the Indian community. And a 3-hour program. And the beauty of that hall is, you don't have a live MC. MC is always pre-recorded and it is time set. So all the programs have to go second to second. If the person who is doing a speech, if he goes for even 2 seconds more, the auto MC would start for the next program. So it starts at dot. The first condition of this RCMH is that the MC should be pre-recorded. Even with the vote of thanks, it is pre-recorded. So it's a 3-hour program when it is 2 hours. If you decide 2 hours, 58 minutes and 34 seconds, the vote of thanks would start. It would start. Even when the last item is going on, it will automatically start in the audio. That is the category, and that is the pride of this place. So even Pramukh Swami was told that you have to speak exactly 20 minutes. We could see Pramukh Swami after he completed 18 minutes, there was a small clock right in front of him, and he would repeatedly see at the audience and see at the clock. And he would because he was told, not 19 minutes and 58 seconds, and not 20 minutes and 2 seconds. That felicitation. Now, after the function was over, he met the people there, the followers, got off the stage, sat in the car, came back to our New York temple, sitting for his dinner. We, a few saints, a couple of devotees were sitting. Everybody were talking about this. I could still remember that day in 1996, 3rd August. Pramukh Swami Maharaj was sitting in a very small room in our New York temple, where he used to take his dinner and meet people. You could feel from his face that not a wrinkle has changed from his face. If you take that picture, you can't make out the difference of the picture of his face sitting on the stage of RCMH, and a few minutes later sitting alone for dinner at his place. Detached attachment. When I was there, I'm fully there. When I come out of it, I'm out. We live more mentally and emotionally than we live physically. Physically, we live 70 or 80 years. Mentally and emotionally, we relive thousands of incidents of our life. Reliving is quantity. Living once, living in the moment is quality life. Such great personalities, they live that life. So this is also an important aspect, detached attachment. Another good case study that I would like to present to yourself is gaining, wanting is quantity. Giving, selflessness is quality. Ask yourself, sitting all of you, I want to ask you a very simple question. How many moments of your life you have really lived selflessly? How many acts of your life you have really performed selflessly? Just introspect when you go back home. If you introspect, more than 99% of our time, emotions, they are selfish. If I don't gain from him, I don't need to keep any relations with him. Simple. As they say in the city of Ahmedabad, that when they have worked with you, they ask for, when you go to his place, he says, "Do chai lana? Do chai. Do chai." Matlab, you have to bring, the chai wala brings 2 chai. And when the work is over, when the selfishness is over, he will say, "Do chai lana, do chai." Matlab, नहीं लाना. समझ गए आप सब? कुछ अनुभव होता होगा. 2 chai lana. Matlab, he will not bring till half an hour. And this gentleman, the guest has to go because he is in work, during working hours, he has come to your place. पहले क्या आता है? 2 chai lana. 2 chai lana. वो भी समझ जाता है. समझा दिया है उसको. This is our lives. Described in a small incident. In a nutshell, in a capsule. Selflessness in life is very much necessary. प्रमुख स्वामी महाराज ने कितनी selflessness बताई अपने जीवन में. After the 2001 Bhuj earthquake, Pramukh Swami Maharaj did relief activities in 509 villages. 26 January morning it was the earthquake, and on 30th January, just about 4 days hence, Pramukh Swami put a 800-ton vessel on the port of Mundra full of all required materials. We distributed it in 509 villages in a span of just 3 days. Then Pramukh Swami adopted more than 15 villages. We built more than 4,500 homes, plus many schools, hospitals there in Kutch. In 1987 drought, Pramukh Swami started 4 cattle camps, 12,000 cattle. And Pramukh Swami was instrumental in increasing the per cattle subsidy by the government for the cattle from ordinary 50 paise per cattle head to 12 rupees per cattle head. And the people and the farmers of Gujarat, they know that the cattle survived the 1987 drought in Gujarat because of this Pramukh Swami Maharaj's initiative. Such selfless work for the society in abundance. But now see his selflessness to this extent. In 1987, when we were running 4 cattle camps, a gentleman here in Mumbai, he met Pramukh Swami and said, this is 1 lakh rupees of check, I want to donate it for your charity activities. And Pramukh Swami said, fine, thank you very much for that, but just a couple of days back, I received a letter from a Jain organization in Bhavnagar. They are also running a cattle camp. They have about 100 cattle, and they are in lack of some money or fodder. I would request you to transfer this check of 1 lakh rupees to them. And that gentleman who was donating 1 lakh rupees every day, he fell at the feet of Pramukh Swami. That for the first time I'm coming across a personality to whom I have come to donate a check, and he's asking me to transfer that check to some other organization. Swamiji, you are living on charity. How can you do this? Swamiji said, we also live. Let everybody live. If anybody is doing good activity, we must help them. He said, for the first time I'm seeing somebody who is living, that is doing his activities on charity, is helping some other charity organization. This is selflessness. He said, Pramukh Swami, I don't know those people. Pramukh Swami said, I know. They're good people. They're doing good activities. Selflessness. Imagine a check of 1 lakh rupees in 1987. And Pramukh Swami transferred it to that organization. So selflessness, they teach, and it is an experience. Even small acts of selflessness, or even not minutes, but a few seconds passed in selfless emotions or acts, can bring down your stress levels to unimaginable level, can give you a good sleep without a pill, can control your blood pressures, can control your blood sugars. It is medically proved. Thousands of papers have been released on it. Selflessness, an act which is very much necessary. Give something to a cause that is close to your heart. Perhaps not always money, time, energy, some other resources. Many of you are well attached, many of you are well doing, but if at all something is lacking in your life when it comes to giving, a good book, Giving 2.0, recently published. Everybody must read it. If God has given you a 4th meal, it is your humble duty to part some portion of it to the one who has less than 1 meal. Giving 2.0 is a very good book. Give something and you will enjoy. This is called quality living. Because at the end of your life, when you're on deathbed, you will not regret an office more setup. You will not regret a more one electronic showroom setup. You will not regret a new business setup. You will not regret a few relations more developed. What will you regret in life is, I should have lived a more better quality life than I did. I should have been more selfless than what I was. Bronnie Ware, she has written a very good book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying. I suggest this book to everybody. She was a nurse taking care of critically ill patients at a hospital in Sydney, Australia. The patients would know that they are dying. In a few weeks they will pass away. Their relatives would know, their friends would know, even the doctors, paramedical staff taking care of them, they would know. Secretly, this lady would ask the patients, ranging from an ordinary woodcutter to high-end professionals or giant businessmen, that at this moment in your life, when you are dying, what do you cherish in life and what do you regret? 2 columns to be filled up. She started a blog after this. The blog became very famous. She was asked to write a book. She wrote a book. And the title of the book is The 5 Regrets of the Dying, which remained as the bestseller number 1 in the New York Times bestseller list for more than 80 weeks, which is a world record. In which she writes, these people had 5 principal regrets on their deathbed. And the first regret was, why did I work so much in my life? Experience from an ordinary woodcutter to a high-end professional to a leading businessman. Why did I work so much in my life? Second regret was, I should have spent more time with my dear and near ones whom I loved and cared for, who loved and cared for me. That was the second regret of life. Third regret of life was, I should have lived the life that I wanted to live, not the life people expected of me. This is a very deep statement, huh? More than, according to the study, 60% of our life is artificial life. We live the life expecting other people that I may look good. What other people are expecting from you. See, when you wear clothes, you would always have the first thought, how would I look? Clothes you wear because you like it, isn't it? Particular color or style, whatever. You liked it, so you wore it, isn't it? But introspect, the first thought would be, am I right or wrong? Without wearing any other color or style since 25 years, I know that this is the thought in your mind. How would I look? Is the basic concept when you wear clothes. Isn't it? So you are living a life of what others are expecting of you, not the life that you want to live. Fourth regret of the dying was, I should have expressed myself fully on occasions and to people when I wanted to. Why did I curb my emotions? That was the fourth regret of the dying. And the fifth regret of the dying was a much interesting one. It was my life, isn't it? My 70 or 80 years, isn't it? I should have kept it mine. Beautiful book. Selflessness. Away. Detachment. Don't keep too much grudges and worries in your life. You go back home today. Today is a Sunday. Sunday afternoon, it's raining. I don't think you have any other activity outside when it's raining. Sit back and just make a list of grudges that you have, a list of worries that you have since the time you remember, since the time you noticed it, since the time you experienced it, and how much has it helped you. Just check out. How much has it helped you? Improved your state of affairs? Just check out. Do you have a problem in life? If no, then no need to worry. Do you have a problem in your life? Yes. Then 2 questions. Can you solve it? Then 2 answers. Yes or no. If yes, no need to worry. One day it will get solved. And can you solve it? No. Then no need to worry. Basically, you don't need to worry. Basically, you don't need to worry. Because worries have never solved problems. Ideas have solved problems. So why worrying means you are burning yourself. Not worrying is quality living. With this understanding, whether you worry or not, unless you try it out, you will not come out of the problem. Whether you worry or not, unless you try out, you will not come out of the problem. So trying to come out of the problem does not carry the force or does not carry the help force of worry. Why do you need it? And grudge. He's like that, he's this, she is that. Okay, if you don't get along well, Maintain a distance. But why to speak foul about them? Everybody are fine. Everybody are good. Shakespeare said, the whole world is a stage and we are all actors. We have all our entries and exits. जब तक मंच पे हैं, खेल कर लो. Whether you like the character or not. Whether you like the co-star or not. Whether you enjoy the chemistry with your co-star or not. By co-star I mean many things. Huh? Take care of it. Whether you enjoy the chemistry with your co-star or not. जब मंच पे हैं तो खेल कर लो. और मंच का समय पूरा हुआ तो 78 year game में exit में आ जाओ. Simple. Shakespeare used to describe this. So you will not remain with grudge. Selflessness is not just giving. Letting your ego give away grudge is also selflessness. Letting your worries out of your heart is also selflessness. Big brains, people are known. Big hearts, people are accepted. It's nice to live in the hearts of people than in the heads of people. If you develop a grudge for somebody, tell yourself, he is he, I am I. Whatever happened in our lives, maybe it was destiny. God wish him good. And if at all, a great spirituality erupts in your mind, and you are ready to help the same person when he needs you, you are divine. Not just beyond grudge, you are divine. And people have done that. When Nelson Mandela came out of prison, 27 years in isolated prison, unbelievable. I keep you isolated in your known bedroom for even half an hour, you would feel, where is my iPad and where is my mobile? Just try to live a life for half an hour without your mobile and you will feel and you will understand who was Nelson Mandela. सिर्फ बातें नहीं करनी, एक आधा घंटा तो आपका मोबाइल रख दो बाजू में, फिर पता चलेगा कि what is remaining as a prisoner for 27 years without talking to a single human being on an isolated island and yet keeping the stability of mind. हम तो दूसरे दिन पागल हो जाते. Yes or no? When he came out of the prison after 27 years, he was walking and a reporter asked him, "Sir, how are you feeling at this moment?" He said, "Fine." Okay. Immediately the next question. Do you hold any grudges for anybody? Because the white regime in South Africa, they imprisoned you. Especially the president P.W. Botha. And he gave a very fine answer. Remember this if you don't remember anything from this talk today. Nelson Mandela said, for 27 years I was in prison. Now after physically walking out of the prison, and if I keep a grudge for the person who sent me to prison, I will still be in emotional prison. I want to come out of prison. And this was deep-rooted in his heart, and it was experienced by the world when he asked and invited the person who sent him to 27 years in prison, the president of the white regime in South Africa, P.W. Botha, to come and join me in the government. Let us work together for the development of South Africa. And for 5 years, Nelson Mandela remained. His African National Congress, the political party, won a landslide victory after he came out of the prison. He became the president of South Africa. He asked P.W. Botha to join him in the government. The white people joined him and they jointly developed South Africa. What a quality of a person. So when his documentary was to be made, the who's who of Bollywood, the who's who of Hollywood, and the who's who of all the woods of the world, they were begging for a few seconds of role, including Big B. Yes. That in this documentary of Nelson Mandela, if I get a few seconds role, even of a chaprasi, I want to do it. What a great personality. What a human being. Beyond human being is divine. The who's who of Hollywood and Bollywood, they literally went down on their knees to the director who was making the documentary of Nelson Mandela officially by the government of South Africa. That was going to be the official documentary. Many people have made it small, big. But this was going to be the official. So it would stand in the libraries for next generations, in the archives. In that documentary, the who's who of the celebrities, international stardom, they pleaded for a few seconds role. Why? Nelson Mandela had not met any of these people in his lifetime. He was 27 years in prison, and before that 20 years just on the streets, carrying out masses, everything. When you live a selfless life, you are a divine personality. We are not as big as Nelson Mandela when it comes to forgiving. We are not even me, nobody of us. But at least with your near and dear ones, can you pardon a small fault of their year? Can you pardon them to a small extent? चलो, नहीं होना था, हमारे बीच ये नहीं होना था, लेकिन अगर हो गया है, forget it. Do you have the daring after listening to Nelson Mandela's incident or his life story or his inner heart to put a small SMS after this talk and session to a person to whom you are not talking since few months or a couple of years? Come today in the evening, I want to meet you. Let's meet today in the evening. Can you gather this courage from within? After listening to Nelson Mandela, who could invite P.W. Botha to join the government. Put a small SMS to a person for whom you are little grudge. Let's meet in the evening. An SMS put will be springs of joy in the last days of your life. I guarantee you. Take this from me, 100%. Will be springs of joy in your life. वरना आधे टुकड़े के लिए तो कुत्ते भी भौंकते हैं और कुत्ते भी झगड़ते हैं. What animals do on the streets, white collar people do on the 35th floor of corporate office. Nothing different. It is a fact. Otherwise, why so many cases? हमारा मन इतना चीप है, सेल्फलेसनेस कहां से आ सकती है? पार्टी में जाते हैं, गैदरिंग में जाते हैं, आफ्टर द गैदरिंग, आफ्टर द पार्टी, व्हेन यू कम बैक होम, इंट्रोस्पेक्ट योरसेल्फ, बातें क्या होती है घर में? वो उसने मेरे सामने ढंग से नहीं देखा, तो वो ढंग से देखे इसलिए तू गया था वहां. Well, he didn't seem that friendly. Then how much he should pour out to seem friendly? How much he has to pour out to you to seem friendly to you? इतना चीप माइंड है. कोई देखता है सामने तो रिवर्स प्रश्न होता है, मेरे सामने क्यों देखता होगा? 3 बार मेरी नजर गई, तीनों बार मेरे सामने देखता था, क्यों देखता होगा? The answer is very simple. Because he had eyes, he was looking somewhere, you were in between. Because he has eyes, he need to look somewhere. You were standing in between, so a couple of times he looked at you. मतलब इतनी simple चीजें होते हैं, we carry on the load, and so we feel stressed. Going to parties is quantity life. Coming back from party, a bit more human is quality living, not a bit more animal. I am always surprised that why for regular party goers, these press people use the word party animal. देखना, for regular party goers, क्या word use होता है? Party animals. मुझे बहुत मैंने सोचा इसके बारे में. Really, yeah? For the last 7-8 years, I was thinking, from the time I read this word for the first time, it got clicked. I said, why party animal? Then I came to know, after my introspection, and this is my own opinion about it, it is personal, that after the party, or gradually during as the party progresses, the animosity increases and the humanity decreases. So he is known as a party animal, who parties more. Because he becomes more of animal there. Because coming out after the party, he discusses this. उसने ये पहना था, नहीं पहना था. अरे यार वो कितना गंदा लग रहा था. ये तो कोई कॉम्बिनेशन होता है पार्टी में. तो तेरे पैसे से तूने उसके कपड़े खरीदे थे. मैरिज सेरेमनी जाते हैं 2 घंटा वहां रुकते, अच्छा भोजन करके आते, फिर भी घर आके क्या बोलते हैं? दोनों जम नहीं रहे थे, तो तुझे जमाने थे. और अगर दोनों में नहीं जमा तो तेरी कोई रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है? तू तो जो 1000 लोग आए थे उसमें से एक था, अच्छा भोजन करके वापस आए मुफ्त में. Why are you discussing that? Our minds are so cheap, our minds are so mean that we spend our lot of time and energy behind discussing people. Small minds, they discuss people. Average minds, they discuss events. And great minds, they discuss ideas. And that is why they are great. Decide your category. Decide your category. Are you a cheap mind? Are you a mean mind? If you are discussing people, you are cheap and mean. Take care of yourself. Live quality living. Quantity तो बहुत मिल जाएगी, सब जगह पे है. Quality living is a different living. Come out of discussing people. Discuss people where you want to learn something from them. Discuss people when you get inspired from them. But don't discuss the B side and the negative side of people. Every person has an A side and a B side. Do you agree with me? Yes. Why you are discussing his B side? Unnecessarily. You are wasting your time, energy, resources, and most important of that, you are losing morality of your life. You are losing the quality living. You will never get fulfilled in life. You will never experience that fulfillment in life. So selflessness is giving your resources. Selflessness is allowing your ego to loosen its clutch on grudges, on worries of life. That is also selflessness. And the last aspect that I would like to talk is like about 12:15. So the last 5 minutes I would talk, because we are used to both clocks and calendars. When we talk, we are used to both. Understood? I give you a case study. Elvis Presley and Mirabai. Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. Mirabai did not have this status. They both used to sing. They were both singers. Elvis had 1,000 odd audience every day in the evening. Mirabai never had an audience. Elvis had a concert. Mirabai never a concert. Elvis had private jet planes. Mirabai never had. Elvis had a cavalcade of 7 limousines studded with diamonds. The paint on his limousines was studded with crushed diamonds. So the 7 limousines of Elvis Presley, when they would move as a cavalcade, people could see their cars shining because diamonds were stuck on the body of the car. Mirabai used to go from one place to another by foot. Elvis had more than 500 million records sold in his lifetime. Mirabai? Done. Elvis earned $1,000 million in his own lifetime till the age of 32 by his own talent. And I'm talking of 70s, $1,000 million. And Mirabai earned nothing. Then you would tell me, Swami, you are a fool. You can't compare these two. I'm not comparing. It's a case study. Now see the difference between quantity and quality, between filling and fulfilling. When at the age of 33, Elvis Presley was composing his most famous composition, How Great Thou Art, on the piano in his house, his secretary, she walked up to him and said, "Sir, how are you feeling? You are at the zenith of your career. You are at the peak of fame. How are you feeling at this moment?" And Elvis said, "Alone." You are getting 1,000-odd audience every day in the evening, and you throw your leather jacket in the audience in the mid of your concert. And it would get into small pieces within seconds, and people would take back home that small piece of leather jacket of Elvis as a souvenir that once upon a time I visited a live concert of Elvis. And today in Memphis, there is a whole memorial of Elvis Presley. There is no memorial of Mirabai. Elvis felt alone. And on 16th August, 1977, Elvis Presley at the age of 33, he took 40 sleeping pills at night and never woke up the next morning. He committed suicide. At the age of 33, at the peak of his career, with $1,000 million self-earned, 3 private jets, 7 limousines, and the king of rock and roll, the greatest entertainer the planet has ever seen. They say, when it comes to listing of entertainers from number 1 to number 10 is Elvis, number 11 is Michael Jackson. From 1 to 10 it is Elvis. His biographer Mike Stone writes that Elvis is only the second person in history to become famous by the first name after Jesus. Such fame, and he committed suicide. And forget suicide for Mirabai. Today, 500 years hence, people, more than 330 professors and lecturers in India in different universities are such that they have done some work of research on some bhajans of Mirabai. They have got MPhils and PhD, and their family are earning their livelihood on it. Elvis committed suicide, and on every bhajan and kirtan of Mirabai, people are earning their livelihood, they are living their life after 500 years. Elvis lived a quantity-filled life, Mirabai lived a quality-filled life. Both were singers, both sung. Elvis had quantity, it filled his life with treasures, with pleasures. But he missed out on qualities of life. He felt alone. And Mirabai, though alone physically, she was fulfilled. And Elvis had to answer that I am feeling alone. And Mirabai writes in one of her bhajans, Payo ji maine Ram Ratan Dhan payo. What life. I have all the treasures of life because I have God with me. This case study shows devotion to God will fulfill your life. Faith in God, faith in the existence of God, faith in the all-doership of God, faith in obeying the commands of God, and faith in devotion of God. These 4 aspects are called faith in God. I was talking to IIM students in Bangalore a couple of months back, and after my talk, there was a question answer session, and one of the students, he raised his hand, and along with the faculty, he asked me a very simple question. Swami, can you give us the logical proof of the existence of God in one line without the help of scriptures? We don't want you to tell God, Krishna was God or Ram was God. Give us a logical proof to the existence of God in one line. I said, yes, I can. They asked, what? And I said, give me the name of one thing or object that does not exist and is discussed so much. My question to you all, apart from God, forget God. Give me the name of one thing that actually does not exist and is discussed to this level every day in almost all the households. And they all like, no, there is no other thing. I said, have you studied riders and theorems when you were studying calculus in high school and higher secondary? He said, yes. We used to start the rider. Suppose x is not equal to y. And then we would prove, so x is equal to y. Isn't it? That means if there is no other thing that does not exist and is discussed, the reverse is true. That which is discussed exists. Simple. That which is discussed exists. You take this statement with you and think over it, ponder over it when you are sitting back with your family. Anything that is discussed exists. You agree with me or not? Otherwise, you don't have the time to discuss. And actually, you don't have the matter to discuss. You don't have any information about it to discuss. When you have something to discuss, that you have some information about it. That means it exists. Anything that is discussed is exist. When God is discussed so much, it exists. Then the pros and cons according to the thoughts is different. So it exists. And He is the all-doer. Accept Him as the all-doer in your life. Whatever happens in my life happens with the wish of God, happens for my good, and happens for my progress. Keep that attitude. That is beneficial. It is like medicine. You have a headache, you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you a pill. You don't know the single chemical ingredients of that pill. Do you read that? Tell me. You have faith in doctor, you take the pill, go to sleep, next morning you are fresh awake. Isn't it? In the same way, saints like Pramukh Swami Maharaj are spiritual doctors. They give you the pill of prayer, take it, don't go deep into the chemical ingredients or the emotional ingredients of it. Enjoy the benefits of it. We are used to enjoy the benefits of it. Because when you go out on a hot summer evening for an ice cream, you don't check from which buffalo the milk has come. You just enjoy the ice cream. In the same way, acceptance of his existence, attachment with God in terms of prayers and devotion. Enjoy the fruits of spirituality. Why are you going deep into it? People have already done it. Enjoy the fruits of it. When you get an iPhone 7, do you first open it up? You don't. Dr. Jayant Gadi doesn't. Mohan Bhai doesn't, because this is beyond your know-how, the technical know-how. I'm asking this generation, the touchscreen generation. I call them the touchscreen generation. Not because they use touchscreen gadgets, but they themselves are touchscreen. The moment you touch them, they express something that you don't know. You just don't know what your children, when they're teenagers and youths, what will they do when you touch them? By words or emotion, you don't know. You have to be very, very careful while dealing with them. So they are called the touchscreen generation. I have named them. It's my private property, TM. Then you don't go into the details of, you just enjoy the benefits of it. Because already Steve Jobs have done a lot of labor for you. He has used a lot of his brains for you. Steve Jobs at Apple, he has done a lot for you. Do you believe that Steve Jobs actually was working for you? Do you believe that actually Steve Jobs was working for you? Yes. It is a yes. Because without knowing you and without you meeting him, he has given a fine product to you, where you are enjoying the fruits of it. एक बहुत बड़े शेठ, उनकी मृत्यु हुई, उसके बाद कुछ ऐसी घटना बन गई कि that lady married the driver. बनती है, the princess of Rajasthan, she has married her driver. बनते ऐसे प्रसंग. Okay, it's part of life. Driver wrote a statement once. After he got married and moved from the servant's cottage to the palatial bungalow, he told his wife, that is his boss's wife of the past and now his wife. He said, actually for 30 years in service, I was thinking that I was working for my boss. Now I've come to know actually he was working for me. Because all that he left is now mine. So all that he has left at Apple is all that we are using. My simple logic is, for all products, you enjoy the benefits of it. In the same way, prayer is a very fine product by the great seers and seekers of India, well described in the scriptures, well scientifically proved that it has thousands of benefits. Chanting the holy name has thousands of benefits. University of Philadelphia, they have done a research, they have done an experiments by Dr. H.J. Going, by Dr. Andrew Newberg. Chanting the holy name increases your memory power, strengthens your immunity system, gives you a healthier life, gives you a longer life. All these are good benefits of it. Just enjoy those benefits. Not believing in God and remaining an atheist is quantity life. Believing in God and doing your prayers and devotion regularly is quality life. You will enjoy better. At least more than that, you will feel that somebody is above me. Put aside your ego. I am not everything in your life. I am not everything in my life as well. That you will come to know when you accept His all-pervadness and His absolute authority. If you are not everything even in your family. Yes or no? Sandeep? Are you everything in your family? You are very near to nothing in your family. Huh? I would not straight away put in your face, on your chest, that you are nothing in your family. You are very near to nothing. Especially after the age of 60, 65. You are feeling that I am taking care of the family. Actually, all the family members are very happy when you go out at work at 9 a.m. You all are very happy. शाम को 6 बजे तक जान हाँ जो शैलेश भैया पूरी करी वो क्या शाम को 6 बजे तक जान छुट्टी. Many prime ministers and presidents used to believe that without me this country would not run. And it is running better without them, isn't it? In the same way, your house will run better. So don't keep that ego. Nobody's ego stands. We are not even a speck of the dust in this entire universe. Accept his all doership and you will enjoy an ego-free life. Only one way of killing your ego, which actually gives you more pleasure in life, is acceptance of his all doership. No human can kill anybody's ego. Only acceptance of God as the all authority and all authority of everything happening in my life can subside your ego, and thus that ego subsided opens the gates for many values and virtues in your life. So lastly, I would like to say that righteousness and discipline is quality living. Detached attachment is quality living. Selflessness, putting aside grudges and worries, is selfless living. Acceptance of the all doership of God and profound devotion is selfless living. Every moment God is observing us. One fine rainy day, it was thundering and lightning. And a young mom, she felt that I must go to school to pick up my small son. Perhaps he might fear lightning, so let me go to school. The boy was a little 6-year-old one. So she went to the school, picked our little boy up. And while the lightning struck in the skies, he would see at the skies again and again and smile at it. And the mother felt like I was fearing that he would fear lightning and he's smiling. She asked the little boy, "Why are you looking up and smiling? Aren't you afraid of this lightning?" And the little boy replied, "Mom, God is picturing me. I need to look good. God is taking my pictures. I need to look good." In the same way, every moment of your life, God is taking our pictures. After the pictures, He must not feel that I have given him such a good health, ample amount of resources to live a good life. Why is he constantly worrying and why are he constantly decaying from within? This negative, gone. This dustbin, this dustbin. At least have a couple of pictures in life of yours, internal pictures, which God takes from heaven, and He would like to preserve it. That when you go back there, He feels that yes, He has done the job for what I have sent. So this is all quality living. You have the choice. When you go from Mumbai to Ahmedabad or from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, when you transmit between the two cities, you have two choices. Of either having a good conversation with your co-passengers or putting an elbow to them. Two choices. सिर्फ दो choices है आपके पास. हाँ या ना? Choice is you will reach Ahmedabad. The next morning you will reach Ahmedabad. No issues. But how did you fare in your journey? That is important. Destination is important. More destination is the journey to the important is the journey to the destination. In the same way, our 60 or 70-year journey, what did you actually do? Lived well? Well lived? Or just striking elbows everywhere around? A well-lived life. And one great thinker has said, a life well lived is a very long life to live. Life is not short. Life is very long if it is well lived. If it is not well lived, it is short lived. Even if you live for 100 years. So my all prayers at the feet of Bhagavan Swaminarayan and my Guru Hariman Swami Maharaj, that he inspires all good thoughts and actions and deeds in our lives, me and you both, and we live more and we lean more towards quality living than quantity living. Thank you very much. Hope a nice Sunday for you, nice evening for you, and hope we meet again. Thank you very much.